So, you want to find out where you can ride your motorcycle legally in the UK? I'll tell you all about it. Catch you inside.
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf, a biker's life less ordinary. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and leave the comments below. Let me know what you think. So in this video, I'm talking about riding your motorcycle on the supposed green lanes or any off-road riding routes in the UK. Now, first of all, we probably need to define what is a green lane. So green lane isn't actually an official term. What it is, it's a byway open to all traffic, or boats, B-O-A-T-S, or most commonly referred to as a byway. Now, there are also what are known as restricted byways, and these are not open to motorized vehicles, but they might be open to vehicles like bicycles, that kind of thing. Now, in the UK, there is a network of byways, or byways open to all traffic. Some counties have more than others. Some have hardly any at all. If we go to somewhere like Wiltshire or Kent, for example, there are lots of byways. West Berkshire has a lot of byways as well. But other counties like Worcestershire, for example, just off the top of my head, don't. So you really need to get the Ordnance Survey maps out and have a look for the byways noted on there. Now, many people ask me, where else can you ride your motorcycle? Well, can you ride it on a bridleway? The answer is absolutely not, unless that bridleway is co-located upon a byway or on any other public access road. It's the same as a footpath. As long as it is accessible by motor vehicles for whatever reason, whether it's designated as a road, as a country lane, or as a byway, then you can ride your motorcycle on it. Any standard bridleway or standard footpath, you're not allowed to ride your motorcycle down. Now, also to mention here is, let's say, for example, a bridleway is going across open farmland, for example. Can you ride on that bridleway or in the farmland if you get the owner's permission? Well, the answer to that is yes, you can. If you get the owner's permission to ride on that property, wherever it is, then you are able to ride upon it. Now, I often go along farm tracks, not so much bridleways, or I might cross bridleways and I might cross footpaths, but essentially I'm on private property and I may have got the landowner's permission to do so. Certainly when it's farm tracks, that kind of thing. Other farm tracks are actually public access rights of way. So it's a farm track leading to, let's say, for example, a set of buildings that have been converted into housing. So then that road access is public access, either to access the buildings or to service those buildings or whatever. So there is public access. So the question is, how do you know which routes or roads or tracks will give you public access or public rights of way to ride along with your motorcycle? Well, you really won't know unless you go to the local council and get a whole list of their routes or which give you public access rights of way. And that's a quite Herculean effort. I found the easiest way to do it is actually just, if you spot a trail and you see somebody nearby and you say, do you know who owns that land, or if this is public access? So you go by local knowledge. It's not a foolproof system, because I have been tripped up a few times in the past. Yes, I hold my hands up to that, where I asked somebody locally and they said, yes, this is a public access, that you can definitely ride your motorcycle down here. And it ended up being a restricted byway. Which I wasn't aware of. What happened was that it was a byway up to a certain point, and on the mapping it still showed it to be a byway, but the restricted byway sign had been completely overgrown. And then as I was riding along it, I met this chap and I said, is this still the byway? And he said, yeah, absolutely right, you can still ride on here. So we were both in the wrong there. So it can happen, but more often than not, or 99% of the time, you'll definitely know which of the byways, because they're easily marked on the Ordnance Survey maps, Land Ranger 1 to 50,000, with lots of plus signs along the route, and also on the 1 to 25,000 as well. So you'll always spot those. Public access farm tracks, usually you should be able to spot those as well. There are lots of trails that sometimes may or may not be marked on maps, on Ordnance Survey maps sometimes, and again it really depends if they go into public land or private land. If it's public land, which is somebody always owns land, so it's not really public land anymore, or common land. Even when something's called a common land, it doesn't really exist in UK law anymore because somebody always owns it. So you have to get the owner's permission to ride along it. So let's say you want to ride through some forest, there's a trail for example, you need to find who owns the forest or who owns the land, and if they give you permission to do it. I do my homework and I find out who owns land lots of times, or I see people working there in tractors, that kind of thing, and I'll just pull over and I'll quickly ask them, is it okay if I quickly ride along here, just taking a video or something like that? Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. I recently put up a video where I basically said, you know, okay, this is a video about riding forbidden trails or hidden trails. I suppose I got the title slightly wrong or misleading. But what I meant by the video was that you could actually find lots of trails that are not marked on the map, or are marked on the map, but they are public access trails, but nobody really knows about them. They're kind of hidden from you or hidden from public knowledge, or the greater public knowledge. There are also lots of tracks that go onto private land, which would otherwise be forbidden, illegal to ride along, of course. But if you get the landowner's permission, then obviously that's okay. So it really depends where the track is, who owns it, do you have permission, is there public access right of way, that kind of thing. You would not believe the flack that I got from this recent video saying that I was promoting illegal use of trails, which I wasn't at all. What I'm trying to say is that there are trails out there that you just have to do your homework, find out where they are, and see if you can get access onto them. Maybe just a one-time deal, that kind of thing. So, but the first thing to look at is where can you ride your motorcycle? Usually it'll be on the byways. Look at those first of all, see if those are in your area. Then look at Ordnance Survey map and look for farm trails, that kind of thing. And look if the farm trail or farm track will actually go from, let's say, one village to another village, that kind of thing. And if it is public access, once you're in the village, then ask somebody, is this a public access right of way? And take it from there. You'll kind of then build up an idea of which routes are public access and which are not. Obviously, if there's a sign saying no motor vehicles or no motorcycles, no cars, then you can't go on there. Now, bear this in mind. Sometimes you will be on a byway, for example, and there will be lots of spurs going off a byway, and they will have lots of signs saying no motorcycles or no motor vehicles here, no motorcycles there, so on and so forth. That is quite common, and sometimes they will open or close byways according if they have to do any work, or if it hasn't been maintained, or if there's a tree fallen across the route, that kind of thing. So the status of the actual byway or the trail can change. So it's not always guaranteed that it's going to be open. It's not always going to be guaranteed that all aspects of the trail are going to be open as well. It really depends what you find as well. So some days a trail might be open and then everybody thinks it's always open. The next day it might be closed. So you've got to bear that in mind. Well, I hope this kind of answers a few things for you. So there are lots of people on YouTube, on the internet, giving their opinions about what you can do and what you can't do. People tend to use the wrong terms a lot of the times for different stretches of off-road trails, for example, dirt trails, whatever they are. But the ones that you've got to remember are byways. Those are the ones that the byways are open to all traffic. Those are the ones that you're allowed to use. The other ones are, they've got to have public access rights of way on them, whether it's a country lane, a dirt road, that kind of thing, or even a trail. It's got to have some kind of public access onto it. But it's just a county road. It's still a county lane that is maintained by the council. All the other trails that you can ride on are dependent on whether you get the landowner's permission to do so. Once you do that, then it's fine. Now, the one final thing that you need to understand is that if, let's say, for example, you see a sign that says no motor vehicles except for access, well, it really depends if you have to access that property. If you're going to see somebody, a friend or whatever it is, along this trail, are you allowed to go on this dirt trail? Well, you are, because you are accessing that trail to go and access that property. So when people say you cannot go down there because it says no entry for motor vehicles, well, actually you've got to read what's beneath it. It says except for access, and only if you're accessing the property are you allowed to ride down there. Well, I hope this helps you out a little bit. It can be confusing out there. Lots of people using different terms all the time. Lots of people think they know everything really, and some people say you can't ride on anything other than a byway, which is actually not true. You can, but you have to be very careful that you're not going illegally onto somebody's private property or on dirt trails that do not allow motor vehicles. Anyway, I hope you found this useful at least, and hopefully you'll be able to get out on the bike a lot more and get out on some dirt trails wherever you are and go explore. I mean, that's what it's all about really. Go explore on your motorcycle. Be respectful all the time to the trails that you're on. And please subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell down there, leave loads of comments if you will. Let me know what you think, and well, I'll catch you on the next video soon. Cheers. RevelatorAlf.